Hey everybody, Prophet here. Today we're going to do a quick update on Phil's bullshit, basically, as it pertains to um, this whole entire Comcast fiasco. Now, Otterly Insane and I came up with a test this morning. We started talking about the log files that Phil had spoken about. Um, I have the exact same modem that was provided to Phil by Comcast. This is the XB6, 7, and 8 series modems. They all have the same UI, right? You can just see mine's different because of my ISP, right? But everything else is identical to what Phil's has. Now, if you recall, Phil had stated that back on October 28th, when that tech came out, when Phil was having the DNS issue. Remember, Phil had just stated yesterday that him and the tech had sat down. The tech wanted to look at the logs in the modem, and he brought up the logs. Now, I've already done this test, and I've called my ISP, and I've had them do it as well. And they have confirmed this. Now, to restore or reset the gateway, and this is basically what we'll just go through this, I think, here really quick. So basically, I'm just going to choose the reset option. Everything else is a factory restore, right? Or you can just reset your Wi Fi settings or whatnot, right? So I'm just going to choose reset, okay? Now, what this is going to do is this is just going to reset the modem itself. So you're going to lose internet connection. Anything connected to it's going to basically just drop out. Okay. Now you'll see, please wait while rebooting. It'll come up with a screen basically right away. Here is the login for the gateway itself. Okay, so now I can log in. I'm just going to, it's over. You guys can't see what I'm doing, and I'll move it back. Okay, so now you see it has now basically timed out. The modem is quickly resetting. So I'm just going to move this over again because I have to do some login information after when I get back, when it comes back up. Now, what we are going to be looking at here is basically Phil's claims of the tech looking at the log file and stating that, oh, yeah, look, somebody's resetting your modem from Comcast. Now, when I did this earlier and I had Comcast, or not Comcast, my ISP, Shaw, do this, it deletes the log file. So that tech would not be able to get any information prior to the reset point. So that means anything that happened prior to that time the tech reset the modem, there wouldn't be any information there. So that means Phil is lying about the October events. Now, what does this say for Dan Green? Because Dan Green, the idiot that posted on Kiwi Farms, he had stated that he's been doing this since late October. Phil's now running with the theory that this has been going on for years, right? And it's bullshit, okay? Now, saying that, does it put doubt on Dan Green's claims? And I just want to talk about that for just a quick second. And I know the Kiwis are doing some awesome work there with Dan Green. Um, as Phil was reporting that information yesterday, that's when Dan Green started uploading stuff. Now I know there's a person on the forums, a moderator for Kiwi Farms, that said Dan Green had sent him stuff prior to him posting. Now I don't know the time information for any of that, but it was to me it kind of looked like Dan Green was posting stuff as Phil was disclosing it. So as Phil would disclose it, then Dan Green would make a post, right? And I may or may not do a video over those pictures because I know a lot of people have looked at them. Shinko, King Jad, myself, Otterly, War Dog Leader. A lot of people have looked at these pictures that Dan Green had provided. And a lot of them are suspect because a lot of stuff changes, even though these pictures were supposedly taken all at the same time. But the problem that I am having at this point now is just going over the log file information. Um, because this does look really suspect. Okay, so I'm logged back in. So now I can go to troubleshooting. I'm just going to show the logs for today. And of course, the system log is now empty. Now, this will repopulate eventually. There'll be a new log that'll be created, but only from my restore point. So 731. Now, I don't want to show you that because it's got a lot of information in there, a lot of technical information. The other things are things like event logs. That is empty. And of course, firewall logs. And it's just going to state stuff because I have my VPN up and running and everything, right? So the attempts and everything. Now, this test that I have done is only using the modem. I've disconnected my router that I have. I usually run this modem in bridge mode. I've disabled it. I factory restored everything, okay? Now, I'm not factory restored, I just disabled it. I set it up for low security, like how Phil has his setup because he's an idiot. Um, basically, what it comes down to for me is this pretty much shows Phil is lying about the events in October. Now, I had stated in the prior video that I was 50-50 if Phil was lying or telling the truth. I'm probably about 90-10 now that Phil is um again, there's too many variables now within this story, but I think this really it takes the wind out of the sails in this Comcast Odyssey that's been affecting Phil. Um again, this is the exact same modem that Phil has. The exact same series of modems. You can tell the GUI is exactly the same. Um, and yeah, the log files. Like, so again, like if Dan Green was resetting it, the log files would be erased. If Phil was doing a power cycle or a reset, the logs would be erased. So take of that what you will, guys and gals. Um, this is just from my testing, okay? I know Otterly and I had discussed it, like I said this morning. Otterly and I were just discussing the logs. Otterly had done it on his modem. His modem is different than the one Phil uses. Mine is identical to the one Phil uses. So, again, I think this really does put a dent in Phil's story, especially from the beginning time when this started. Uh, that doesn't mean that maybe within the last 3 days that Dan Green started doing this. Again, that guy is really sus. I know the Kiwis are really working hard on him, and I thank the Kiwis for that, for the help. But this just now looks like, yeah, Bill is not telling the truth. And are we surprised? I don't think so. I'm not surprised now. Um, I would not trust anything that Phil comes up with at this point. Um, regardless of the information that he releases. I know I've spoken to some other detractors, and they bring up points like, the SSIDs being changed, like Panda Lee was hotter and everything like that. The issue with that, my ISP has told me they cannot legally edit that information. They can't access that with their systems. What they can do is they can basically ping the modem, look at settings. They can't change the settings due to laws here. It could just be laws in Canada. Again, I can't confirm for the United States. Um, so being able to change the SSID, being able to add parental controls for like block sites, um, that kind of shit comes up when I had spoken to the rep here from my ISP. They can't change that information. Now, with it being changed, like a lot of people have said, do you think Phil did it himself? It's like, I don't know. I really don't know. Did Phil have somebody maybe make this for him? Possibly, right? Like Phil's, again, like it's just 4D chess. Like this is just getting way too confusing. But I know for a fact now, like that the log story between him and that tech is all a lie. It can't happen. It just can't. So again, guys, thanks for watching here. Sound off in the comments. Yeah, this is just looking weirder and weirder as the day goes by.